Yes, it's okay.
You can see the screen, you can hear me, and I've got it recording on my side too. Okay, good. All right, so the first tool that I want to show you is called Streak. It's available at streak.com. It's a Gmail plugin for some email tools.
Okay.
And I'll give you this list of everything that we have. So after you go to streak.com and you install it and you activate it, it'll also it'll then put this nice little icon up here. It'll walk you through a setup, but you don't have to do much, or you don't have to pay for it or anything. But what it does is in Gmail proper, what it will start doing is you'll see that my screen looks slightly different than yours. I've got a couple more buttons. Button number 1 that I have is down here on the bottom next to the send, that lets you click on that little time thing, and it lets you schedule an email for the future. So it's very rude if people look at you funny if you send an email at 3 a.m. But one of the things that I do is I always, like, if I'm not going to let people know that I'm working on a Sunday, so like if I were doing work right now, I would wait until I would want this email to go to them Monday morning. So I would say Monday at 8:17 a.m. so that it's at the top of their email inbox whenever they get there. So if I what's your global email?
What's our email? Okay, it's
here. I'll just do my own. I don't have time for that. So test email. It's fine. So yeah. So what I do is I say, hey, send this an hour from now. I can say Monday at 8:17 a.m. I click on send later, and whenever I click off of that, it's now saved in my drafts email.
Yes.
And the system will automatically, see where it says sending in 21 hours, it will send that in the future.
Okay.
So that's just one that I use. Another tool that's built in as you do this is if you're interested in seeing whenever people open up your email, you can click here and it's email tracking. So you get a little notification whenever someone opens up your email. And so you can also see as you scroll down, I do this sometimes, not very frequently, but if I click on an email that's been sent, you'll see that over here, if I click on one of these, let's say here, this is a project I'm working on. If I click on the email, it typically will sometimes in the right-hand side, if I have it turn that feature turned on, let me know when someone, although it won't tell you exactly who viewed that email. And that's if you have that feature turned on. Let me see if I have it on there. I usually don't turn it on because I just don't.
Because I email track, and it's like every time someone do email, the notification on mail track is like, oh, someone see the email, and sometimes it get annoying because
it could, but you can turn that feature off. Yeah. So like right here, I was following up on, I was trying to pay somebody for the catering and bringing food to an event that they did. It was very annoying, but if I click on it, if I click on this, I can see they read this one line item email 19 times, which means they were forwarding it to a whole bunch of people trying to see what happened. That's just an interesting thing that they have. Yeah. Something else that I use specifically for startup weekends is that if I come over here and on my compose again, if I've got an export list of every startup weekend attendee's email address and first name, at the top right, I have this thing called Mail Merge. And what it allows me to do is upload what's called a comma-separated list that you can export from Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel. It really doesn't matter. And let me show you an example of it. We won't go through the entire process, but I'll just show you what I'm doing. So if I come over here and I say, these are an event attendees from something, I don't know what event. and I can, once it does that, it says, oh, we found 17 people. That's great. I can come over here and I can say, hello, let's do a startup weekend. But what I can do is over here, I can, behind all these bees, there's typically, if I do it correctly, there's their email address, and you can have their first name, last name, how you met them, the last event that they did. And you can click down here and say insert variable. And then these are the things that are in that comma separated list or that Excel. And their email is in there, their full name is in there. So you can say, hey, insert full name.
Wow.
It was nice seeing you. Insert full name here. You came to our event. Insert variable here. Calendar, whatever it is, and you can build what the recipient thinks is a very personalized email, but it's really not. This email will show up in their inbox and not in the promotions tab. If you use a tool like MailChimp or Eventbrite, all of those get listed in promotions.
Yeah. So what the tool again? Mail merge?
No, so this is still part of Streak.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So it has those. And again, you can do the send later. You can turn tracking on. You can do a whole bunch of things with them. I'm not going to send this because it doesn't make any sense. Let me delete this so that I don't accidentally send it. I do that sometimes, which is really embarrassing. So if I come over here and I want to delete it, my delete key is also, I'm just going to do that and I'll deal with it later. So that's what I do. Another tool that I use is I really like my calendar, and I hate being like, hey, when are you free? So one of the tools that I use is Calendly. And the tool for Calendly, it's a scheduling tool. So I have it linked up that it checks all of my calendar and only shows people free times of times that they can book with me. So that particular tool, and again, I've got it set up. It's free to use for some of the features, but I pay $9 a month, and honestly, it's worth it. So if you come to my Calendly, and you can name it whatever you want. So mine is just my calendly.com/Johnson, and you'll see that these are the things that people can do with me right now. So if somebody wants to click a 30-minute conference call with me, they can do that. They want to pick Wednesday, they can select their time. They can select their time zone because I deal in a couple different time zones. They click on Wednesday, and here are the available times to check my calendar. They click on it. Once they click confirm, it asks them their first name, their last name, their email address. And then I always ask this, what's the agenda? What should I prepare for? Always add this if you can, because it's really rude if somebody schedules a meeting for you and you don't know what the agenda is. Yeah. That's what I did at the start of this meeting, as I said, hey, what are we covering today? Because if I went on for 20 minutes and started talking about stuff and it wasn't important to you, that's a waste of everybody's time. Yeah. What happens after this, and I'll just show you what it does, is once they schedule it, a couple things happen. So automatically what happens to me, and I don't know why it's not showing that, is I get a couple things. So one, the attendee gets a calendar invite, and I have it connected up with Zoom, the tool that we're using right now, and it automatically includes a Zoom link that is unique to them. Now, with Zoom, if you do one-on-one calls, it's free to use forever. If you add 2 or more people to the call, there's a hard stop 40-minute time limit. So if we do a conference call with 10 people, we're limited to 40 minutes. But if you have it listed for 30 minutes of a conference call, that's okay. So it sent the attendee, this person, who's also me, that And then if we come over here, you'll also see that I get a Calendly notification. It says who did what. It's saying, hey, this person did this. But now if I go over to my calendar for Tuesday, yeah, this is Google Calendar. It's included with your Gmail account. You'll see that on Tuesday, there is now a meeting invite, or there should be. Did I make it for Tuesday? What day did I make it for? I made it for Wednesday, the next day. So if you look at Wednesday now on my calendar, it blocked that's off, and no one else can schedule that if you go back to the tool. This is a time saver, and I put this in all of my emails, and I think it's even part of my email signature. The other cool thing about that is you can also, if you're doing this personally, and you can also take that scheduling tool or make a different event type. And I've got one that's on my website that allows anybody to go to my website, and I allow people to freely do it. No one does it. And at the top right, I have an option called Book Daniel.
Daniel.
And then what that is it's a different calendar that you can't publicly see, but I only allow people to book this one on Tuesdays. And only, I think, anytime on Tuesdays whenever people can do this. So yeah, and notice I've got an appointment somewhere between 3 and 4 o'clock, so it doesn't allow somebody to schedule it. That's a really big time-saving one that I really like.
Some saving, especially, like people asking like lunch, coffee, dinner on time. I was like, I usually forgot, like if you don't like note everything, and then as long as you schedule a meeting with someone and get in the calendar, it's back too much time.
Yep. And so my agenda, that question I ask, is required. If you don't fill it in, I do not meet with you. So yeah, and you can embed this on a website if you want to, no problem.
So yes, like I met the schedule.
It's a pretty cool tool. It does a really good job. So there we go. So that's like some time-saving ones that I do. Are you all on Macs or PCs usually?
Will you Mac?
Okay.
No.
Do you know about this feature where you can have multiple desktops? So I think it'll let me show you this. So oh no, it's not going to let me do it. Let me see if I can do it another way. Have you seen this version? Like if you take 3 fingers and you motion upwards, it allows you to have different desktops. So, have you seen this?
Mm-hmm. What did you use first?
So I take my 3 fingers and I take 3 of them on the trackpad, and I go from the bottom of the trackpad to the top, and then it shows me all the windows. But what I can do if I move the mouse up is I have all these different desktops, and I arrange the programs on these different desktops based upon what I'm doing. So like on this desktop, what we were doing with, this is my communications one that I have my email accounts open with. Mm-hmm. If I'm web browsing, I usually do this in this other one. So I just separate my life out so that I don't have a whole bunch of different windows open and it gets very cluttered. So that's a really good one. And the way that you do that again was 3 fingers, you scroll up, and then you can, depending on where you are. So if I come back over here and I'll go back to desktop 1 and I do 3 fingers up, I can say drag this document, I don't even know what it is, over to this desktop. And I can either double click on that desktop and there it is, or I can use 3 fingers and go left to right and see the different desktops. So
but you have to set it up, right?
You have to what?
You have to set it up, right? Because like
no.
It show only one desktop. Yeah, okay, well, yes. Yes, I can do the 2 separate.
Yeah, it usually does, but if you do the 3 fingers going from the bottom of the trackpad to the top, it'll then give you the option to create different ones by pressing that plus sign to the right.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, so I saw you use Zapier, right?
Yeah, that's the next. Slow down. I'll show you all the tools I use. So Zapier is like one of the cool things that I pay for, and I really like it. So like one of the things that I do is, we were talking about Trello, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I'll just show you one of the things that I do. Is Trello, I use a virtual assistant in the Philippines to help me get through some of the tasks that I'm not really good at doing, and she really is good. So for instance, one of the things that I do is I'm going to Penang and I need her to look up a couple things. So I name them in a very specific order as I'm doing stuff. So like if I wanted to create one right now, I would name it 014 Penang coffee shops. So once I create that, Zapier is every 15 minutes for me, it's going and it's going to check that task, and it's going to do a couple of things for me. So the one that I have set up right now is I could, if I wanted to, just go into this and I could type blah, 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 here's the task. But I don't like doing that. Instead, what I do is I like to have things slightly more organized where I want a Google Drive folder made and I want a Google Doc made, and then that's actually where I'm going to document everything that I want because I can insert pictures and show her examples. So I'm going to make Zapier, the way I have it set up is I have it, and I'll show you how exactly it works. Is what it does is every 15 minutes, it monitors for a new card, which is what we just did. We created that. It's going to take that card name and create a folder in Google Drive, and also inside of that folder, create a Word document. And then it's going to update the Trello card with that information so that whenever I'm going to force this task to run. So if you look at right now, if we look at this one, it's not been ran yet. And so if I come over here and I do my little down arrow and I click on run, it's saying, hey, I'm going and looking. I found one new one. I'm creating the folder. That's really great. It's still going, and it's going to say, hey, I created the document. That's great. And I updated the card. So now if we come over here to this task, this card, we can see that there's this Google Drive description. And I have it where a little bit more advanced where it comes up and it gives, if there's a due date specified, it will put that in there. But this is, it's a little bit laggy because I'm sharing the screen, but blah, 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 whatever. So, and once I save it there, and I can edit that on my phone, I can do whatever. Once I'm done with that, I just close out and everything should be fine. Now, what I also have it set up to do is I close that because it manually ran, is I also have it where every time that a Trello card is moved from this location to this one, it sends her a Slack message. And that's how she finds out about it. Now, how you could use this for Startup Weekend is you could have all these tasks that you know you need to do, and then it sends a group Slack message saying, hey, Daniel just moved it from this to this, or it went from in progress to complete, and you just have a look about what everything is going on.
Yeah, I think for my, I set up the Trello and Slack already. So whenever something moves, then I got that Trello and Slack. But then I haven't used Zapier yet. So can you show us like how to use Zapier?
Yeah. So what it does is Zapier lets you take information from one program and do things with another. And they have thousands of different apps that they have. So for instance, for Startup Weekends, what you could do, if you're posting a lot of information on Facebook and you want to schedule those out, you could say, hey, I want to connect up Facebook pages, because that's probably what you have, with Google Sheets. And they give you a whole bunch of things, but you can say, hey, create Facebook page posts from new Google Sheet rows, or post updated Google Sheet rows to your Facebook page. Wow. And you can do a whole bunch of things. So let's just use this one, for instance. I'm going to show you how it could work. So this is saying, hey, every time that there's a new spreadsheet row, added to the bottom, what do you want it to do? And it's going to say, hey, where are you going to do this? It needs to test your account. You do that. It's successful. You can also connect another account. And then what it's going to do is going to say, hey, which spreadsheet do you want it to do? Now, since I've not set this up before, I'm going to create one as an example.
Mm. It's really cool. Met like lazy people, lazier.
So I'm going to create a new Google Sheet. Yeah, it's definitely going slow since I'm connecting and recording at the same time. Usually it's a lot faster.
It's okay.
Um, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back over here, and I bet you anything that it'll usually prompt you on all the things you have to do. So it's going to say, hey, what spreadsheet? It's going to go out there and grab them. It notices this is the most recent one, so it grabs that. And it's going to say, hey, which worksheet do you want it to be from? There's only one in there, so it's going to be sheet 0. And then I'm going to do continue. And then now it's going to say, hey, pick a sample. So it needs header rows, and it doesn't have that right now. So I'm going to say message and date, because I have no idea an author or something like that. It doesn't matter. So once I come out of that, I'm going to come back into Zapier, and I'm going to have it try the step again. And now it should say, hey, turns out we found pull in samples. It should do it because it's definitely there. Come on, you can do it.
Still, it's okay. Yeah, pulling some symbols.
Come on, you can do it. We're looking for a row. Oh, let's, hello world. Hello.
Hello.
Hope you're having a great day. 1-30-2019, Daniel. Let's see if maybe it needed that. It may have needed that. Yeah, so it needed the header row and it needed the data. So if you click here, it'll say, hey, here's the row ID, here's the column A, blah, blah, blah. Continue. And then it's going to say, hey, create a new page post. That's what you want. And it's going to say, which page do you want? So you can test your Facebook account or link it. I already have it there. And it's going to say, hey, which page do you want to show it to? So what page? It's going to go out there and grab them. And we're going to make it do, no one does this one. And the message you can come in here and build, and you can say, hey, from the new spreadsheet row, I want you to grab the message. And then I want you to do dash dash. And then I want you to come in here and I want you to add the author information that's there. Oh. And once you press continue, it's going to say, hey, what do you want to do? Send to Facebook pages. And if we come over here now, I can go to my I can come here. And now we're going to see that that is that post should be the newest one that's here. Now, what you can also do is, where is it? Zapier, finish.
Finished. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to do all this stuff. Granting you superpower. So now it's saying, hey, every 15 minutes it's going to do it. So now I'm going to come back over here and example test 2. The date we don't care about, Daniel. So once I enter that and I come over here and I want to see it on my dashboard, I can say, hey, I can run that. It's looking out for the new Google Sheets. It found one item and it created a post. So
Wow.
now if I come over here and if I, in theory, if I refresh, if the world works correctly, and sometimes it doesn't, I click on post just to see what it's doing. You can do the same thing for Twitter. So as your social media person is thinking about it, you can have a list of 100 different posts that you want to do, and you can schedule those out.
Wow. Nice.
So there they both are. So
Yeah, like
can, yeah.
usually what I do with like my intern is like creating some content and then I have to read in it and then post it on Facebook. But then if I use Zapier, this is like ultimately, every time the content is doing, which is really great.
Yep. So by the same thing, I bet you anything that you can. So if you had a Trello board of social media posts, I bet you anything that there's a way that you can take a Facebook pages and connect it up with Trello.
Yes.
And I bet you anything that says create Trello cards for new Facebook page post new. So this is saying create Trello cards for new Facebook page post. Each post you make on your page has a life cycle. So they may, yeah, so you can say, hey, whenever, let's switch them, if it'll let me do it. Whenever you say, hey, every time just like I do with that Slack integration with Trello, you can probably also say, hey, whenever I move it from a post that happens that's in our queue and you drag it over to the to be posted, it'll probably just post it to Facebook for you. Because you could have like ideas in one column and then things that the intern has written, and then once it goes from written to the approved column after you spot check it, once it goes from the approved column to the to post, in 15 minutes it'll post it at a certain date. So it just depends on your workflow automation and what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Because if you get on Facebook, you're going to stay there for 50 minutes. It's useless.
Yes. Always like that. Whenever you get on Facebook and you answer some messages.
Yep. So another thing that you can do is you can say, hey, every time that Facebook pages gets a new notification, or every time that usually Facebook will let you, let's see if it'll do it. If there's a comment, I bet you anything that if there's show less common options, a new notification triggers I bet you anything that whenever a new notification comes in, like somebody commented on your page, you can make it save that comment to a Google Sheet. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that could be an auditing thing or something that you do in case you're wanting to have it. You can do the same thing with Twitter if you're frequently on Twitter. So yeah, Zapier does does over 1,000 different integrations like that. Usually have to. That is $20 US a month that I pay. But I bet you anything, there's a free version of it. It limits you on what you can do and how many like really advanced things you can do.
Yeah, like for free, like you can do maximum 5 jobs.
Yeah, which may be as many as you need. So, pricing.
we try to use that in our office.
Yeah. So starter teams. Oh, did they get rid of the starter? Did they get rid of the free one?
What's that?
Did they get rid of the free one?
They have a free 14-day trial.
Oh, well, it used to be totally free.
And after that, it's not free anymore.
Ah.
And like, because we tried it last time at my work, and it said like you can do 5 jobs free.
Oh, free forever. There it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Basic personal automation, and it's a test bed. So you can make two-way apps. So, hey, something happens in Facebook, do it on this other one. If you want to do like some of the more advanced stuff, like with, some of the advanced stuff, the 3-Ways app where I have Trello go make a Google Drive folder that then makes a Google Doc and then updates Trello, that's considered a 3-Ways app, and you'd have to pay for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's a pretty cool one. What's another one that I use for personal stuff? Facebook, if you do some automated stuff, so you can come over here and you can, at the bottom, a lot of people don't use this, but you can click this down arrow and you can click on schedule. And that's really good because, again, if you spend what you think is going to be 10 minutes on it, you're actually going to spend hours. So try to schedule those out, and depending on the country you're in, and what you're trying to do, some times of the day are better than others. Like 3 o'clock in the morning is not going to be a good time to post a Facebook page.
Yeah.
What other automation things that I do? If you used Eventbrite to manage your registrations for Startup Weekend, you can also say, actually, let me show you this one. So if I came over here and I created a new one, and let's say that we had, do people register through Google Sheets? Is that what you said they register from?
Yeah, like usually we use a Google form and then it's create a sheet. Yeah. So
And do they get an email confirmation? What do they get?
Yeah, so they get an email confirmation.
Who sends the email confirmation?
So like our team member, right, have to send the email confirmation.
So they have to manually create the confirmation?
Yeah.
Okay, let me show you this. So let me show you this one, which will save some time. So another thing you can do with Zapier, and this one is free for you all to do, is if I come over here and I say, I want to connect Google Sheets with Gmail. So when a new spreadsheet row is added, so like somebody registered, because it saves it to a Google Sheet, or you should have it set up like that. The spreadsheet we want to grab is this one, and then the worksheet we want to pull the second one, which is sheet 2. When we click on continue, and we're looking, it found that because I just added that. And now we want to say, hey, whenever a new spreadsheet row or somebody registers, we want to do another action. And what we want to do is we want to have Gmail we can either have it automatically send an email, or we can have it create a draft. So we can come over here, save and continue, and it's going to want to authenticate through your Gmail account. I'm going to use my Startup Weekend one. By the way, if you need a first name dot last name at startupweekend.org, you can request that from Lalitha so that you're not using up all your personal email for Startup Weekend stuff.
We have done at Gmail.
So 2 is going to be from the email that was from the registration form. CC, we can BCC if we want somebody from name. It could be Startup Weekend, the name. Subject is welcome to Startup Weekend. Message, plain, it doesn't matter. You can also come in here and make it HTML, but we can say, hey, insert first name, which is going to be name. Great to have you join us. Blah, 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 whatever. You can put information in, registration, additional information. You can attach things if you want. You click on continue, and it's going to send a test. And now if I come back over here to my other desktop, my communication ones, and I go over here to my Startup Weekend at Daniel Johnson draft, I now have this draft email that I can be like, oh, that was somebody that just registered, and then I can click on send.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's gonna save us a lot of time.
Yeah, and now another thing that you can do with this, and this one I don't know if you'd have to pay for. So once I finish that, so that we don't look like so that we don't look like stalkers and we're not totally automated, what we may do is we may say, hey, Zapier, we want you to delay. And we want you to delay for maybe it's just going to be 27 minutes. So it looks like there's a human that's really interested in that. Time value, use a number. So we're going to do 27, and we're going to come down here and we're going to do minutes. Click continue, and that's it. So somebody's going to register, and then 27 minutes later is then going to create the draft for us. So it doesn't look like we're totally stalking them. So, and just like you can make it create a draft, you can not create a draft and just have it automatically send an email.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool.
What website do you all send people to register or to find more information out? Is it the Techstars website, or do you have your own website?
Usually when we do it, like we get a Facebook post.
Mm-hmm.
Register, they fill in the form, and the Google Forms. One of our team members handle the Google Form registration, and then we send the confirmation email, and then we call them. Hey, you came to this building where you can pay for your Startup Weekend registration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so it's looked like you've got it worked out. So if you think about this all together, if you have the registrations going to that Google Sheet, which is how Google Forms is set up, you have this email that's sent 27 minutes after they register, so it looks like you're really interested and you're excited about them coming. They don't have to know. You're basically lying to them.
Yeah.
Then you can take that Google Sheet, and you know what I was talking about, that mail merge feature? The day before the event, you can do that mail merge feature and send everybody a new updated email.
Yeah.
So, or what you do is, if you know all the details, which I don't think you will, just like there was this delay option, there was a delay, and you can say, hey, delay until, and you can make it say, hey, send this other email 15 days before, send it 24 hours before. Delay until, and there's going to do, it's probably going to be a date. So choose the relative date and time until this, choose the relative date until this set. Okay, so I don't know the answer for this. Delays cannot be set more than 1 month into the future. Okay, so yeah, so you can only do that within 30 days. So that one may not work for you.
Yeah. I think like usually what we do is after registrations, then our team member is handling all the registration stuff. So say she filter out if they feel like what is your idea. So we have to we wanted to make sure that the people register for the sake of they wanted to participate, it's not for fun. So like somebody has to do that, like filter participants. So how usually you do, like you allow everyone who register, or you filter it?
Yeah. I mean, and she may be able to update that
Yeah.
Google Sheet, and if she puts a is approved to come as a yes no field or something like that, that's fine. How good are you all at like Excel or Google Sheets? Are you pretty good?
Sorry?
Are you good at Google Sheets?
Yeah, I think we pretty much.
Often yes.
So here's what I would do to make her life. Have you done filters before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as you've got this data validation for these drop down lists, that you can say, hey, come over here and go to sheet 3, and these are the statuses for somebody that could register. After she makes contact, she can say, oh, this person's applied, default is applied, this person's approved, and then this person is denied.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one additional step, but I mean, some people are going to attend and they're not going to share an idea, and that's okay for the event. Not everybody has to share a business idea to participate.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. The other thing that you can do, and although we don't do this a lot with startup weekends, you could take this big, massive spreadsheet that you're building, and you can have some additional columns like has attended before. You could have team name, pitched an idea, and as you're going throughout the weekend, of course, pitch an idea would be you could create a lot of data that would be interesting if somebody's managing that, and like the team names. So you could see like who's doing what. So you don't have to, but it could be interesting. I would like to see that data just to see. And you could put the pitch ideas in there. You could do a lot if you were really interested in that. Yeah. So, what else do you all deal with or spend a lot of time on that you're like, oh, I hate doing that and it takes so much time?
So like, can you show us Eventbrite? Because like we haven't used it before.
Yeah, so Eventbrite is.
Because like we don't use Eventbrite. Yeah.
Ticket box. Có ticket box.
Yeah, ticket box. Oh, or maybe.
Let me see which one I'm logged in as right now.
Đúng rồi. Không cần thiết đâu.
Yeah, but like usually what we. Yeah.
So here's the. So after you log in, and this is a startup weekend would need to provide you with your login information because all the systems are connected.
So basically, we have login information for Eventbrite for the startup weekend, right? So we can just send that.
Exactly. So they go ahead and they create all this event stuff for you, and then you can come in and manage these. And it's all your ticketing. People pay for it. You can do discount codes, free stuff. It doesn't matter. You can edit what it looks like, the location that includes a map, a whole bunch of stuff like that.
Can they pay by credit card or Visa, PayPal?
Yeah, so people use a credit card to pay. You will incur a charge for that. But if people pay through like a bank transfer, so you could create a ticket type that says bank transfer and it's free, but you say in your confirmation email, hey, you have selected to pay by bank transfer. You have 24 hours to transfer it, or 48 hours, whatever you think is feasible. And then if you had Zapier set up, you could say, hey, every time somebody registers with Eventbrite, log them into this budgeting spreadsheet, and then you get an email that says, hey, this person hasn't paid. And that's sort of like your audit trail, so you don't have to. Eventbrite's a little bit cumbersome. Like if you want to come in here and see who's paid and by what, you have to go to manage. First you have to log in, go to manage, scroll down. So here are all the different ticket types and the prices in USD. Here are the people that have registered, and if you're like, oh, they did that, they had a free order, all that other stuff.
Yeah. Free order.
So it may be good for you. I don't know. So
Yeah, we will try this year.
yeah, it just depends if your demographic and your people that are registering for the event are comfortable with Eventbrite. You'd probably, I'm not sure if all the buttons are translated into Vietnamese, or even if that matters.
Yeah.
So it may offer a language, but I don't know. I can't remember because I've never switched it. So
Nó có nhiều phương thức hơn.
yeah, we also have the Vietnamese version, so this one that we can use. So it's like,
yeah. So yeah, and they handle all the money. So I remember you sharing that to find a money sponsor, somebody handle the money. It actually wouldn't be you all; it would be this organization. But I'm pretty sure you can come in here and you can add Vietnamese if you wanted to. It's just the buttons at the bottom may not be.
alright.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. So, Daniel, you are in South Asia until June, isn't it?
I don't know. Whenever I leave, I haven't figured that out yet. So.
Like, where were you mostly based?
So I'll be in Penang. So I'll be in Malaysia till the end of February. March, I haven't decided. So I could come back to Vietnam and hang out there. I could go to Thailand. I don't know. Somebody's asked me to go to Sri Lanka. I don't know.
Okay. We was thinking of like, when are we gonna have start weekend this year? 2019. Yeah.
Maybe we separate it because the start weekend, especially we got the fund from the department.
So we do like dinners and sort of things like official organization.
What we do with that? Because we in UK, because that's fine. Maybe we separate it into two start weekend interview.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We talk about it. So yeah. So like for now we haven't decided time yet. But we'll let you know if you are somewhere near South Asia that you can come and join us as a facilitator.
Yeah, let me know. Be happy to do that. Make sure I think we were talking the USA Aid organization. Make sure you ask them for money again.
She always work with the US Aid. And then we got sponsored for 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, we got someone from the US like 2 years.
Yeah.
Because last year we don't this fund from the start of the years, you know.
So basically,
we don't have that because they don't put that in the plan. For the budget.
Right.
Cool.
So yeah, happy to help out. Just keep me on the list. There's a possibility I may be in Australia or something like that. But as long as you all keep me updated, I'll keep you all updated. So that's simple enough. So
cool. And is there anything else you guys want to share?
No, so usually whenever I show people all these tools, they get a little bit overwhelmed. So, like all the things that you can do, I would not encourage you to do all of them today or tomorrow or next week.
Yeah.
Just pick one to make your life easier. And then once you get that one, say maybe do Calendly, then do another one. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this stuff for years. So this is what I know works for me, and it may not work for you. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. But thanks a lot for your time
Yeah.
to show us the cool tool. But it's really cool. Like for Zapier, I tried work before, but like I didn't really, discover like many other function behind that. Because we use free versions all too.
Yeah. Well, you can probably still do a lot with the free version. You just have to decide, like Trello to Slack. Just
Yeah,
drag it. That one's probably free.
Yeah,
Um,
what the Daniel saw is actually works for if we can base and if you save a lot of time.
yeah, of course.
No
Yeah, like it's just
no problem.
yeah, like your best time is spent getting more attendees to see if you can get 100 or 150 people to commit to coming to the event. I will say something that if we do look like I could pop in for the facilitator, I would request that if there's a way, and I know this would be really hard to do, but I think we may know enough people to do it. If there's a way to speak at a college or a university about entrepreneurship or technology or something like that, I know there's a lot of regulations. You have to be sponsored in and stuff like that. I think that would be interesting for my LinkedIn profile, to say, hey, I've Vietnam, which is a really difficult country to be able to speak to a college class. I've actually done that before. So that's very personal. So.
Yeah, cool, Daniel. We got one from I'm from Vietnam, VNUK's research and institute. So right now I'm work with the college and university. So happy to know that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if somebody wants like a guest lecturer for a day or something, 3 different classes, I'll come in and we can do an ideation workshop. I don't care, like anything. It would be interesting because of the government setup you all have. It's difficult for an outsider to do anything, and that's a very personal ask, though. So.
Yeah, for us, like for the incubator, we open to like international speakers. We have plenty of like sessions and entrepreneur in residence. We can kind of share your story, make the vending machine for juice. That's a new interesting story.
Yeah. So I've done something since we had coffee. So let me show you what I've been doing, and like I've done this for free. But this is what I wish people that startup weekends would do. I'll show you my screen again. And I'm having a blast with it, so it's pretty funny. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm making these. So I'm taking a sales ad for our grocery stores, and I'm paying my virtual assistant. What she does is she takes what's cheap that week for the sales, and she creates a list of 3 breakfast items, 3 lunch items, and 3 dinner items for people to cook.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've been doing is I've been posting it to this website called Reddit. And what Reddit is, it's basically a big message forum, but it's a phenomenal place. It's like the 6th most trafficked website in the world. It's like very popular. But one of the things that happens is that, so I'm posting these, and this is the city that I was based in, so I know some of the people. But I'll show you what I'm doing is, if I can find it. It got buried a little bit. Let me find it. Where did it go? Let me grab it another way. So what I've been doing is I've been taking that Google Doc, which is, it's not even a website. And what I've been doing is I've been posting it to all these website forums on here. And there are people that are saying, hey, can I subscribe to this? And that's like what a startup is, what you want it to do. Because my goal is to charge people $5 a month to get access to this. And people are saying, super cool, something I'd like to see more of it. Hey, I thought it would spam, but good job for it. And people are messaging me, hey, it's a cool idea, keep it up. Hey, do you even work for them? So this is what's called customer validation that I'm doing. It's totally free to do, but people don't do it. So, and like people are messaging me and saying, hey, I work at the store, and people have actually come in. I've seen them pull up the recipes on their phone and show it to me to find the stuff. So it's pretty cool. So anyway, that's just an example of quick and dirty, easy to do something where you don't need 3 years worth of building a website to do it. So So that's just like, that's the type of stuff I love teaching people how to do. Is you have this idea, how can you fake it for a little while, see if people like it?
Yeah. How do you test your idea validation for free?
Yep. So there we go. What else can I help you all out with?
Right now, we're still overwhelmed with all this information, and I think we have we keep in touch with Danielle and we start first with that and we practice, and then I think we'll come back if that's like we can ask you any question anytime, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty accessible on WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. So here's my last thing. What are each of you going to do to put in the next week to put one of the things I showed you into work? What are you going to try to do?
I try with Javier.
I try the link, so for the all kind of schedule, because I have a lot of people come to the office. Hey, can you show me the ecosystem? Hey, can we discuss this? So with that, they're gonna save my time and make my life a lot easier. This is my timetable. Feel free to book me and with the agenda, because in Vietnam sometimes people is like, oh, let's meet, but no agenda. So,
decline. So
I will try to apply that and see how it goes.
Okay. All right.
I think I will start with Javier. It's so interesting, a lot of function.
Okay. So what are you going to do this week?
I will try to connect Javier with Trello. I think a lot of function inside.
Yeah. Just give it a try. Create a new board for testing, and see what happens. So cool.
For now, I'm gonna try also connect Javier with like the Facebook.
Yep.
So whenever my intern creates something I approve, then that could just go on the page. So it's save a lot of time. Like you don't have to switch back to Facebook and then spend like, instead of 5 minutes for the test, it's like 2 hours. People.
Yep. And with scheduling post, you can also, you can do it probably through the dragging on a Trello board, but that probably, actually, what you could do is with that little weight thing, you could take, let me think about that. Play around with it, because what I would like to see you do is create a spreadsheet of, hey, this post goes to Facebook at this date and time, and then schedule that out. You could type it all into Trello, but that's a lot of work. There are tools out there that let you upload an Excel spreadsheet that says, hey, at this date and time, post this on Facebook. Anyway, circle back, ask me more about that one once you get like 10 or 15 Facebook posts. Because you don't want to just spend the same amount of time that you spend typing it into Facebook and pressing the schedule button. You want to create it once or have your intern do it and then send it. And it takes you 3 minutes to schedule out a month's worth of stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
So cool, guys. All right. Well, let me know if I can do anything else for you. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Can we send the record video for that?
Yeah. So I'll upload it to YouTube. It may take a little while because the internet's not very fast here. But yeah, just let me know if I can do anything else to help out. So
Thank you very much,
great.
Daniel.
see you guys. Bye.
Enjoy your day then.
See you.
Bye.